Welcome to Wellness Wonderland, your holistic wellness hub. Join us as we dive into the realms of alternative medicine, mindfulness, spirituality, and everything in between. I'm your host, Nicole Papa George, and today we have Morgan Sheridan with us. Morgan is a yoga instructor, a health coach here in Charlotte, and she is on a mission to remind women that all they need already exists within themselves. That is a mission I can absolutely get behind. And Morgan, I'm so excited to have you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me,
Yes, of
Nicole.
course. Well, I like to just dive right in. So I know we connected briefly and we kind of talked about some of the offerings that you're doing in Charlotte. And I'm starting to see you post more on social media about one-on-one stuff, which I think is so cool. So do you want to share a little about what you do first? And then I would like to ask like how you got into that.
Yeah, totally. So, like you said, I'm a holistic health coach and yoga teacher here in Charlotte. I do also do virtual stuff too. So, that's always fun with like social media and everything and navigating that world. But I do offer one-on-one coaching. So, I have different little packages that you can do if you're looking for more long-term, or I do also do little 90-minute mindset boosts, I call them. So my approach really ties in the body as well as the mind. So being able to talk about things, but also using science-backed tools to be able to actually like clear that energy through your body.
Mm.
And of course through yoga too. That's been like an amazing tool that I've found in my life. And so I love teaching yoga here in Charlotte and guiding workshops as well.
I love that. Well, though I teach yoga as well, and I don't know about you, but for me, that has been a whole journey in and of itself of personal development, healing, and like stepping into my true power, owning my confidence, and just kind of stepping into the role of like becoming a teacher. So, how has your journey with yoga been? Like, how did you first find that? Was that like your first dip into this holistic health and wellness realm?
Yes, I would say it is. And I love what you said about stepping into confidence because I've really found that through yoga, and that is not what I thought when I got into it. So I started doing yoga in like my senior year of high school, and I started with core power yoga. So I was only doing the yoga sculpt classes, which were amazing and I loved them, but I was really doing it for the exercise component,
Mm.
which made me feel great. But as I've grown and learned more about myself and my body, I've realized that sometimes I do need to slow down and take that time to really connect with myself. And I've really been able to find that through yoga. So now my favorite style of yoga is actually yin, which if you don't know what yin is, it's a very, very slow restorative practice where you're holding the poses for more like 3 to 5, sometimes 7 minutes long. So that's kind of how my journey's evolved. And I've realized how connecting to my body and my breath has been able to help me off of my mat as well.
That's so powerful, and it's funny because my first yoga experience, I started doing Ashtanga yoga,
Oh, wow.
which is, like, really disciplined, rigorous,
Yeah.
very intense, and my first studio so I started doing community yoga, I found yoga maybe 8 years ago, and it was really fun, found a studio near me, happened to be an Ashtanga studio, and so I went right out the gate like you did, like core power yoga, Ashtanga yoga, like hardcore, heavy, like we're in
Mhm.
it for the workout, you know? And like
Yeah.
there's a puddle of sweat on the bottom of the mat afterward. But then I also now I'm gravitated towards slow flow and like hatha, like so very grounding, very centered, like introspective, slowing down. So I think that's so funny that we kind of have that similar journey of like where we started and then what we've like gravitated towards.
Yeah,
And it is
totally.
beautiful, like taking that off of the mat. I found that like when you really like slow down, especially in a class, like connecting breath to body movement and realizing that you can do that in the day to day as well. Like I've caught myself self-soothing where I'm getting like really, really anxious and then bringing the breath off of the mat and just like taking those moments, those silent little mini pauses throughout the day that can truly like transform and shift you like so quickly. Such a powerful tool to have.
Yeah, it really is. And I love how we had that similar journey joining for exercise. And then we realized like we're actually able to use this to calm down the body and calm down the mind when we're just living. And when I learned about yoga, I was learning that a lot of it is about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So if you're in an uncomfortable pose and maybe holding it for longer, your mind starts to talk. You learn how to soothe your body with your breath, like you were saying, and just calming down the mind. And when you're in a stressful situation, like at work or something, you can really take that uncomfortable situation and turn it into an opportunity to be able to calm back down. So I love that. I love that you're able to do that too. And yeah, and that we have that similar story.
Yeah, I find that the most subtle and like calming things can sometimes be the hardest things to do for people, especially in yin or just sitting in meditation. Like personally, like if I do a 10-minute shavasana in a class, people start wiggling and squirming and like some of them, not all of them, a lot of them like drop in or take a nap, but you have those people where it's for 10 minutes, it's almost impossible to just be and to just sit and to just like slow down. And I think that's so crazy because that's the most simple thing that we do without even thinking about it, you know? So yoga's powerful.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
And
And
it
I love that you have that same experience too, because as a teacher, when I see people wiggle, sometimes it's easy to get in my head and be like, oh, am I supposed to be doing something? Am I supposed to be talking? But then it's really tying back in that yoga of being like, no, it's okay to slow down. It's okay for me to return back to my breath when I'm feeling this like imposter syndrome come up or just feel like I need to be doing something.
exactly. And let's touch on imposter syndrome real quick because that has been a huge, huge, huge battle for me personally. Like, I started doing yoga. I didn't grow up spiritual, and I found yoga in my mid 20s. And so it was like, I feel like I've evolved chapters of my life. So all of my friends back home, my parents were like, "Where did this come from? Like, why this all of a sudden?" And for me, it's like I feel my most like authentic self when I'm on the mat or when you like find your flow in a class. It just feels so good. But it took me years. Like, I got my YTT in 2020, and I just started consistently teaching for the last year, like, really feeling confident in doing it because that imposter syndrome was there for me personally. Like, who am I to think that I can stand up here and teach this? Or, like, what do I know? And it's just those limiting beliefs and those little voices in your head, and it's been a journey to step into that confidence and that power. So I'm curious if you've had like something similar.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that, first of all, because that's something that I think a lot of people don't talk about.
Mm,
Um, but I also think that everybody experiences it because if you're doing a yoga teacher training, it's pretty likely that you've been going to yoga a lot and seeing a ton of different teachers and kind of idolizing them in a way. Like you go to their class and they're like up there talking and leading you through something. And then when it's your time to do it, you're like, oh, wait, now I'm in this role. And it's
mm.
just kind of like a weird feeling to be on the other side of it.
It is.
Um, so yes, I've definitely struggled with that and I do still struggle with that and that's okay. So I try to just return back to my breath and remember that there is so much more than just like this body that I'm living in. And if I feel good doing it, if I feel lit up, and like you said, if I feel like my most authentic self, then I'm obviously doing this for a reason. So the right people will find me, the right people will find my class, and vice versa. I will find the right people.
Absolutely. And I think that's another like journey into finding what it is you do because there's so many different styles of yoga. And like you said, like you sometimes idolize specific teachers for their styles. And when it's your turn, it's like you almost want to do what they're doing or like try something out, but then it's not you or
Yeah.
it's not coming off the same way. And you're like, uh. And so it's finding that pattern or that rhythm or like the style that you like most authentically can be in and knowing that you will call in your people when you do that. And I've always like not anymore, but in the beginning, you worry like, how many people are going to come to my class looking at the number? Like you want it to be a number thing. And I personally, I love intimate classes way more because you get that more hands-on approach with your students. And I feel like in big classes, yes, as amazing as they are, you kind of lack that one-on-one like connection. So I've learned to not worry about the numbers and truly like when you show up authentically yourself, like you will call in the people that like love your class and your pace and your style and just stick with that because no one else is you. And that's the magic, right?
Yeah, I love that. So
Yeah,
true.
I love that. Well, so also, I don't like comparing stories because I'm in the middle of an Ayurvedic health coach training. And so I know a lot of yoga teachers or just practitioners in general tend to find like one thing. And it's like, okay, I like yoga. What else? And then what else? And then there's like so many doors and so many modalities and so many things out there that I feel like I've personally like just collect certifications in the beginning because you're like, I like this and I want to try that and I want to dabble here. So, how did you get into the health coaching?
Yeah, yeah, I feel like wellness has so many different avenues that you can take. It's like the broadest industry ever, it feels like.
Literally, like
Uh,
endless
y
stuff, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I know, it's great. It's great because everyone has their little niche that they can fit into.
Mhm,
Um, for me, I really got into this in COVID. So during 2020, when we were in lockdowns, I found myself really, really struggling because before that, I was in college. This was my sophomore year of college, and I found myself really seeking outside of me for happiness. So, with like food and partying and just kind of seeking validation from other people.
mhm,
And when that was really taken away from me and I didn't have that to go to anymore, I was like, wait, who am I? Like, what am I doing here? And so it really led me onto this journey of diving within myself and learning about my body and my mind and my thoughts, and also connecting to spirituality. And so now that's really evolved into my passion about using the nervous system to be able to tie all of those things together, like mind, body, and spirit.
mhm.
And I found that using these different tools that are rooted in science and also ancient tradition has been a game changer for me. And I know that a lot of other people have had incredible stories through that too.
That's cool. It's like you're bridging the gap between Eastern and Western almost, right? Like you're science backed with spirituality as well, which is cool.
Yeah, totally. It's really cool. For me, it just helps everything make sense. And also knowing that people have been doing this for so many years, it's
Mhm.
like, obviously, there's some truth behind it.
Exactly, exactly. Like I study Ayurveda specifically, which is, and for those who don't know, it's a 5,000-year-old medical system that originated in India. And it's translates to the science of life, and it's the sister science of yoga. And so it seamlessly ties in together, and that's how I came to find my coaching certification. Um, but like you said, like it's 5,000 years old of like proof of things that work for people. Like there's got to be something there worth looking into. And I think in our society, our very go, go, go Western society of just like going quickly and fixing things, like we don't necessarily get to the root of problems. And then correlating that with the nervous system too. I was talking with a somatic practitioner and it's so much deeper than like the I keep getting headaches. Okay, we'll take some aspirin. No, like why? Let's uncover the root of the problem. What is that connected to? How is that showing up in your body? And like being able to sit with yourself and process that. But I feel like it is so hard to do with the way that we're like going about society. And so it's really beautiful that you can hold a space and like provide education and science backed proof for reasons why things work. So I think that's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's just what I've learned from other people, honestly. Like seeing this connection has really worked for my brain, and it makes sense to me and it makes me want to do it. And like you were saying with that, our society just looking for that quick fix solution. it's so interesting because sometimes the answer can just be as simple as like drinking more water. If you have a
Exactly.
headache, like, oh, I've been drinking water all day, but instead I'm going to take an aspirin. It's really, really cool to be able to dive into your own body and see what you need and start to learn what those signals feel like for you.
It really is because it shows up different for everyone. And like, there's no one system that works for every person. It has to be a tailor made thing. What other modalities do you offer in your health coaching? Like, what other things and techniques do you use for your clients?
Yeah, so my favorite at the moment is EFT tapping. So
Mm,
for people who don't know what that is, it means emotional freedom techniques. And this, like everything else that I love to do, is based in ancient tradition with acupuncture and acupressure, but it also ties in modern psychology and the latest science. So basically what you're doing is you're tapping on different points of your body and saying statements that might be causing you stress or challenge in your life. And it's really calming down the nervous system and the amygdala in your brain, which is like where your fight or flight stress response comes from. And it's teaching your mind and your body that that issue is safe. So your body doesn't need to go into a stress response anymore. And it's crazy the science behind it that the stress hormone cortisol is lowered by doing this. And you can help with like food cravings or attracting more abundance into your life. It could be used for such a wide range of things. And so that's one of my favorites right now. But of course, yoga and meditation too have been such game changers for me. So just being able to tie in that as well.
that's awesome. So I don't have any personal experience with EFT. I've heard of it. I think I was led through like a very mini grounding with that technique before. But I'll be honest, like full transparency, I'm like, how does tapping like help you? I don't get it. Like I just don't understand it. But that is so cool. I guess like the rhythm of wherever that point is in your body sends a signal to the brain to like help relax it.
Yeah, totally. And I know you're familiar with yoga, so it also taps on the meridian channels, which for those who don't know, there's like 12 channels of energy that run through the body. And the points that you're tapping on actually correlate with those energy channels. So it's kind of shifting the energy like you would do if you're getting acupuncture.
That's fascinating. How cool is that? And what a technique to be able to learn to like self-soothe yourself and others around you, or to just have that in your house in your tool belt. I need to learn that. Let's
Well, it's
talk
really
after this.
easy. Yeah, yeah, let's do something after this.
I love
Yeah.
that because I really like, I'll be real. I was like, what the heck? I don't understand. But like when you talk, I'm like, that makes sense. Like, have you heard of marma points? There's certain acupressure points in your body that I learned through Ayurveda, and it will help alleviate things almost immediately. Like, so I guess it's almost a similar concept, but with like pressure points. And so I learned this, like there's one specifically, if you push the two veins in the wrist with your two fingers very lightly, it'll stop nausea almost immediately if you're feeling nauseous.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
so
it's
fascinating.
insane.
I'm gonna use that tool.
Yeah. But how cool is that? I feel like the most simple things are like our cure all for everything. If we just take the time to really slow down and like learn them and utilize them. I love it. Tapping, pushing things on your body, slowing down and just breathing, sitting there in meditation, finding movement. Like these are all things that we do. We have. We can just do them whenever we want to. And to be able to share that with people and teach them and guide them to utilize that is very powerful and beautiful. So thank you. And thank you for teaching me something new today.
Yeah, of course. And thank you. Thank you. I mean, there's so much to learn in this space. And like you said at the beginning, my mission is really to remind women that you have all that you need within yourself. And what we've talked about today, just like tapping and also what you just showed me, that pressure point, like we're not getting something outside of us. We're just using our body to do that. And that is so cool that we have the power within ourselves to heal or to just create the life that we want.
It's so true. It really is. We just gotta get out of our own ways, silence that imposter syndrome, and own who we are because it's all right here.
Yes, yes, I love that.
Yes. I always said, I'm like, you wouldn't be here if there wasn't a reason for you to find this modality or this
Mhm,
practice, or you wouldn't have gone through that experience if it wasn't for a purpose or a reason, even if that's just to hold space for someone else to go through it, you know?
mhm.
So I love that. It's everything we have is already right here. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, where can people find you? Where can people connect with you after this? If all of this resonates and they want to work with you, can you share how we can find you?
Yeah, so the best way to reach me would be my Instagram. It's at morgan.sheridan. And feel free to DM me if you have any questions or just want to connect. I love to connect with people in Charlotte and anywhere else in the world.
I love that. And do you have any upcoming classes, offerings, anything you'd like to share with the community?
Yes, I do. A lot of them are sort of in the works. So if you follow me on Instagram, I will be posting about all of those. We have some stuff coming up in May, as well as June. So keep an eye out for that. It's all exciting.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I look forward to collaborating with you in the future. I think we can do some really cool things, and I'm sure we'll connect out in the real world. And I definitely want to hit you up for some EFT wisdom.
Yeah, same for you with Ayurveda.
Yes, I got you. Well, thank you so much, Morgan, for hopping on today. And big thanks for tuning into Wellness Wonderland. If any of this resonates, join the community by clicking the subscribe button and connect with us on social at Wellness Wonderland Collective for daily inspiration, insights on what's going on in the community, and all of that. I'll be sharing Morgan's stuff on there as well, so feel free to tag me. And until next time, guys, stay curious, stay well, and lead with love in all you do.